Today, I'm going to share what life looked like after the shelter when survival didn't stop, it just changed shape. The goal was simple but overwhelming: find long term housing, childcare, and a job, all without support. Sean refused to help us secure a place to live, so we stayed in a shelter until a longtime friend stepped in. She helped us sign for an apartment because, let's be honest, no one wants to rent to someone with no income. We finally moved into our new home, and soon after, I secured childcare on my own. Sean had taken time off work, but not to help. It was a tactic. He reduced his hours from 80 to 24 hours just to lower his child support obligations. Then came the next surprise. Sean's decade long decades long addiction to sleeping pills and his supposed insomnia were suddenly gone, magically cured in under a month. This same condition was his excuse for not helping with the kids at night or in the mornings. He had been receiving multiple prescriptions, even from another country. But now, conveniently, he didn't need them anymore. It wasn't recovery, it was strategy. California is big on parents' rights, but what about the rights of children? Despite having text messages and emails, abuse wasn't even addressed. Yes, there are laws meant to help protect us, but if no one enforces them, what's the point? That's when I realized that this system wasn't going to acknowledge abuse. To them, just because I was abused, it didn't mean the kids were. But that couldn't be further from the truth. I asked for a more detailed parenting plan because I knew the patterns, I knew the games, but I was dismissed again. We don't do that, they said to me. By the third round of mediation, I knew that I had come to the end of my road here and I had to accept 50-50. But I made a promise to myself I would document everything because I knew he wouldn't be able to hold it together. Sean had his entire family helping him. I had no one here, just me. On the very first weekend exchange, Sean wasn't even home to receive the boys. He had already decided this was going to be party time. In the past, Sean used to say family is free childcare, and that's exactly what he did: use people. He had even told me not to send photos to his mother, cut off contact with her, but I refused to participate in that kind of control. I still sent pictures, I still included her. His family would do anything to stay in his life and in our boys. Time went on, and co parenting, if you can even call it that, was a nightmare, and it's still a nightmare. Sean went out of his way to sabotage my job, refused to help outside of his parenting time, and made sure to send the boys home sick. Just to paint the picture, our oldest son missed over 30 days of school in just a couple months. Sean never brought them in for medical care. When asked, he'd pretend he didn't know or say, oh, he was complaining about his ear, and just ignore it. He would give up parenting time without notice and leave the country. To this day, he still does it, usually around my birthday. Maybe he thinks that it'll upset me. It doesn't, but it hurts the kids. The boys aren't even allowed to bring their favorite things to his house. Toys go missing, water bottles and lunch boxes are withheld, and when I ask for them back, I'm told to go buy more. It's petty, it's childish, and it only escalates. I saw behaviors that made me deeply concerned for their emotional safety. I had to become the only consistent safe space for my children. When I raised concerns, I was dismissed and the children paid the price. We lived in survival mode while the legal process moved at a snail's pace. From the very start of our temporary custody order, Sean knowingly withheld child support, and he still does, 3.5 years later. He claims to be unemployed while traveling constantly, maintaining real estate, and filing motions to reduce his support to zero, all while the balance grows. Meanwhile, I'm left with everything: every bill, every meal, every appointment, every emotional need. Some months, I honestly don't know how we'll pay rent, put gas in the car, or buy groceries. I haven't been back home to see friends or family since 2019. My kids ask why we've never gone on vacation, and I tell them the truth. I'd love nothing more, and I'm working toward it for them. Another frustrating part of all this is that when I went from waking up with our boys and putting them to bed every single day to suddenly only having that 50% of the time, maybe it would have been an easier pill to swallow if Shawn felt the same way, but he didn't. Knowing our boys were being passed off to other people while my hands were tied by a custody agreement. No matter how hard this journey has been, being their mother is the best thing that has ever happened to me. Even with everything we've faced, I've never once regretted leaving, not for a second. This will always be the best decision I have ever made. Yes, I wanted my boys to have the picture perfect family, but never at the cost of their mental well being. As someone who struggled with my own childhood wounds, I understand how easily trauma gets passed down if no one interrupts the cycle, and that stops with me. Now I get to offer my children perspective. They'll grow up seeing the difference between homes, between healthy and unhealthy, and I'll be here to guide them through it all, teaching them to spot manipulation, respond with strength, and never carry someone else's toxic behavior. This may be the end of this part of the story, but it's not the end of the journey. From here, I want to dive deeper into topics that deserve space: emotional abuse, family court failures, high conflict co parenting, and how to rebuild while you're still surviving. There's more to uncover, more to say, and I'll be right here saying, until next time, take up space.